In today's episode, wearing combat boots during nursing school. Cop tries to shame me, I complied with the shame. Strictly stick to the work hours and top an hour extra? You have it, boss. So let's get started. Wearing combat boots during nursing school. Back when I was in nursing school, we were supposed to wear black, non-porous, closed-toed footwear with non-skid soles for our clinical rotations that weren't Crocs. Most of my fellow female students wore classic nursing clogs like Doskos and Sanitas. I tried wearing clogs like this in the past, and had rolled my ankles too many times to recall, so I decided to not go that route for shoes. I'm a military spouse, a vet myself, and have aforementioned shitty ankles, so my footwear of choice was a pair of black leather tactical combat boots. As a show of support and to make sure I always looked sharp at clinical, my hubby always shined up and edge-dressed my boots every evening before clinical the next morning. The boots always looked professional, they were comfy as hell, I could bump my toes into beds without breaking a toe, and I could wear them all day without having back pain, foot pain, or rolling an ankle. The same could not be said for my classmates wearing more traditional shoes like clogs. During the first week of my first semester, I had an old-school nurse as my clinical instructor. I say old-school because she believed female nurses should still be wearing crisp white uniforms with the stupid starched hats, and that our profession lost prestige when we transitioned to scrubs. This instructor got such a bee in her bonnet about my boots and decided that my boots were out of regulation that she threatened to take it up to the director and have me tossed from clinical, thus failing the program. There was nothing in the handbook specifically stating I couldn't wear my boots since it just stated footwear which was black, well-maintained, non-skid and non-porous. Check, 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 check. Furthermore, the pair of boots that I wore were meant to be worn by EMTs, so they were waterproof, bloodborne pathogen resistant, puncture-proof, oil-proof, non-skid, and had reinforced toes. They were just as expensive as Dansko clogs, and could handle lots more abuse. I knew I was in the clear, and so I decided to keep on wearing them. The day after the instructor commented on the inappropriateness of my boots, she did a uniform/shoe inspection to make sure we were appropriately attired. I, of course, was wearing my nicely polished combat boots. She failed me for the day based on my boots, so I politely objected, stating that my boots fell within the definitions of acceptable footwear in the handbook. She literally marched me to the director's office like I was kid caught stealing cookies and demanded I get tossed for the boots, failure to follow program rules, and disrespect because I objected to her failing me. The program director, upon further close reading of the program regs, determined there was nothing that was wrong with the boots, they adhered to the standards set forth by the program, and that they were honestly safer than most of the shoes the other students were wearing because they were waterproof, puncture-proof, non-skid, and had reinforced toes. She rescinded my fail and allowed me back in clinical. After that, I heard not a peep about my boots from any of the faculty the rest of my program. Fast forward to graduation. I had been wearing combat boots since I started and had no intention of stopping, especially since many of the vets that I cared for during clinical always reacted positively to them. Our nursing pinning ceremony, the event where we receive our nursing school pins and are officially recognized as nurses, has an all-white dress code. White uniforms, starched white hats, white closed-toed footwear. The word footwear is key. The dress code did not state shoes specifically, and I knew this. Same bitchy old bat nurse sees me in the hall, and makes it a point to tell me I'll have to get some real white nursing shoes to wear to pinning since I can't obviously wear my black combat boots because we needed to have white footwear. I politely smiled, nodded, said that I'd have white footwear, and went on my merry way. And then wore the all-white Doc Marten combat boots my infantryman husband bought me as a graduation gift to pinning. The instructor stopped me after the ceremony and complimented me on actually getting nursing shoes. At which point I pulled up the leg of my white scrubs and showed her my boots. The look on her face was priceless. Cop tries to shame me, I complied with the shame. Note, the story is sad and I have sympathy for the victims, but I don't feel like a bad guy. 2 layers of compliance. Years ago I lived in a very Hispanic neighborhood, vaguely relevant information, with a lot of young children. They were very loud and screamed constantly during all hours of the day and night. Not just giggle-playing screams, but blood-curdling horror screams. All the time. One day I get a knock at my door and see two blue-shirt police officers, white guy and Hispanic woman. They ask me if I've seen anything strange, creepers, uncomfortable situations, etc. Things have been pretty normal, and say as much. They proceed to tell me that a little girl is missing, and if I had heard a scream or struggle. I let them know that the children scream every day and constantly, so I wouldn't have paid attention to any particular scream. That's when the Hispanic officer lost it. She got eye on my face about racist white males ignoring the plight of Hispanics, not caring about the neighborhood and community, and for not calling the police when I heard a child scream. So I agreed to dial 911 at every child scream from that point on. Within 3 days I had to call 911 at least 15 times. Each time I explained it was relevant to case #XXXX with officer, Hispanic lady, that I should report a child screaming in the neighborhood. Eventually I got a call from a superior officer about abusing 911. I agreed and was told to contact Hispanic officer directly with any other information regarding the investigation. Malicious compliance level 2. Now I was authorized to call Hispanic officer directly, day or night, when I had information regarding the investigation. And I did. Every scream, she got a phone call. 2 in the morning and kids are screaming. Guess who else gets to wake up? Morning officer Hispanic lady. She tries to get me in trouble for harassing her, but I had a nice trail of documentation with 911 and her own supervisor to always keep her informed of screaming children. To help everyone feel a little better, the little girl was kidnapped by her uncle and found safely in another state. Some edits to help. I didn't read 800 plus comments, but I'll try to give some more information overall. MC level I ended after the first weekend and MC level 2 ended by the second week. More than once, witness car accidents, questions about domestic violence, I've been given direct contact information by officers. Though in this case, I was given the business contact by the other officer. The white male partner during the initial encounter did nothing. I could only tell he was alive because he blinked. He was a non-issue. I probably was too casual about dismissing children screaming, but it was the officer who decided I was ignoring 911 worthy phone call situations. Quit your bitching. Duh, it's malicious compliance so someone will call fake. I'm not telling a boring everyday story, but a once-in-a-lifetime one-off. That's the interesting part. Strictly stick to the work hours and top an hour extra? You have it, boss. This happened just before I quit my last job, some 4 years ago. I was working with the largest IT company in my country. It is known for being employee-friendly, with very relaxed working hours and good perks and emoluments. However, the delivery head of our project, our boss, had a totally different outlook. Officially we were supposed to work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., but nobody stressed about it because clocking in a total of 45 hours a week was the only compliance required. Personally, I like to work till late, less traffic while returning, so I'd go to work by 10 to 10:30. The client never used to bother us before 11. Not very disciplinary on my part, one no, but that was the general trend in that company. This boss guy suddenly decided to become draconian about punctuality in office hours. Everyone is expected at their workstations by 9. Nonetheless, all of us complied, saying, if 45 hours is the only rule, so be it. Q. Malicious compliance 1-. Now, since in my team I was the last person to leave every day, I had voluntarily taken up a few extra technical responsibilities that needed to be addressed only after everyone signed off and after the client was done for the day, which was never before 8. As you can guess, it immediately became chaotic when I began, reaching at 9 and leaving at 6 every day. Needless to say, the boss was helplessly out of his wits and had to stay back himself most of the nights for a week to wrap up the closing tasks. Yes, he always used to leave by 6 before this. He was neither much acquainted with the SOPs, nor could he gather aid from any of his staff, so he really found himself in a mess. They could have simply reinstated our work hours. Instead, this is what they do one fine evening. Boss, why are you leaving now? Me, I'm done for the day. It's 6:30 already. Boss, who will do the technical responsibilities? Me, but then I'd have to stay for another 2 hours. Boss, okay, let's see. During the last 1 month you have come to work after 10 every day. That's 20 to 22 hours of deficiency. I couldn't decide if I should laugh or be infuriated at his nonsensical statement. Me, but I've worked till 8:30 p.m. every day, so not only that's incorrect, but I've actually worked 20 to 22 hours more for which I should claim overtime payment. Boss, then why didn't you? Dismissing, anyway, that's a separate topic altogether. From tomorrow you're either coming an hour early or staying an hour late, for a whole month, to compensate for your deficiency. Q. Malicious compliance 2-. At that time I was preparing for another high-paying job in the government sector that requires an immensely tough competitive exam to be cleared, for which I needed to put in a lot of effort and time into studying and researching. The exams were due in a month and I was struggling with the latter as I used to return late. So, I saw this as the optimal opportunity to kill 2 birds with a stone situation. I decided to comply. Well, I began to clock in at 8 every day, study and research vigorously for an hour without any disturbance, using the company's internet, printer, stationaries and whatever other utilities required, and managed to be ready with my work by 9. For a whole month I fueled my exam preparation from the company's resources, and yes, I claimed full overtime payment too. To be honest, a lot of times I used to feel guilty about this, but the pleasure I got from submitting my resignation letter after I got the job I was preparing for was a wholesome, out-of-the-world feeling. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.